So there's my new FPS. Hovering around 335, 336. So this would be perfectly legal for an indoor field around my area. So I'm going to be showing you how to do the quick change spring on this Lancer Tactical Lt15 TL. So first off, what you're going to want to do is take off any sights you have, any sling points, grips, you know, any attachments you have on your gun. So I assume you'll know how to do that, and I'll be back to you when you're done. So I've gone ahead and taken off all my attachments. You can see there's nothing on this. So next what you're going to want to do is make sure your spring inside is completely reset. So what you're going to need to do is put your battery in your gun. Make sure your barrel bag is on in case there's a BB in here somewhere, somehow. And then I'll show you how to do that. So I got my barrel bag on, so my battery's in as well. You put your gun on semi-automatic. Focus. It's on semi-automatic. So what you do, you put your finger on, you do a long hold that makes sure the spring is completely reset. So it's not like half pressure or anything, because when you open this up, it's going to hit you in the face if it is. You could break your nose. So next what you're going to want to do is take this buttstock out. Well, actually first take your battery out. So I've taken my battery out. So to take this buttstock off, normally what you try to do is that, but it won't come all the way. You see, so you got to pull this down. This is hard with one hand. You got to pull this down and it just slides off. So let me show that again if I can. One hand. This is difficult. You just grab the bit that you press down on, like this, and pull it out. And then it should slide off the end, just like that. So now you have access to your, what would be your buffer tube, right? And then down there, you can't see it on the camera, but if you stick a flashlight down that, there will be a screw hole, and with a, so I actually had to go out to my garage to grab these. What you're going to need to take off the buffer tube is a long Phillips head screwdriver like this, when I can reach all the way down the back there. Ooh. So you take your gun like this. Obviously you can do this with two hands. I'm doing it with one because I'm holding a camera. Woohoo. This is a lot more difficult with one hand. Okay, once you find the screw, you twist it out. Should come free like that. Put it down. So you got your buffer tube off. Hopefully, mine doesn't want to come off. Just a second. So I'm back. You got this piece, right? And this piece here. So what my problem was, the screw didn't actually come out of this piece, so I had to be a little forceful with this in there. And then this came out and this slid right out. Just be careful not to tear your wire, or you might have to do some soldering or something. Alright, so now we have access directly to the spring here. It's hard to see in the camera. There's a metal plate there with a hex screw hole. So I'm going to actually need two hands for this. What you're going to want is a good solid hex screw. Something that you can apply a lot of force with. And it actually fits the hole. So for me, Looks like it's this bigger one. Oh, I'm gonna sit down for this part. Now there is going to be a lot of tension in your spring. Well, not tension, but the springs are powerful to push a BB at such a speed. So, you know, expect there to be a lot of force behind it. So what you're going to want to do, put it in to the hole. Yeah, this is so difficult with two hands. You push, right? You turn. And then once you turn enough that these niblet things here disengage, then you have your spring here and your spring guide. So it's really, really important that you keep track of all three of these parts. One time I lost this thing. I couldn't operate my gun without a buttstock for like a week. I mean, with a buttstock for like a week. So you're going to want to keep your other spring. They're handy every season to keep on you, so you don't have to keep buying them. I have my old spring here in a bottle. Just going to get this out. Alright. So you have your new spring. You have your spring guide. You put the spring guide in. You slide the spring in. You see how it stops there? That's what we're gonna have to push past. You'll just feel it when you get there. So this is probably gonna require two hands from me. But you put your Allen key in, and then let me see if I can do it with one. This is a weaker spring. You line it up, you push, you twist, and turn. So you want to make sure it's seated in there, that you, ooh, don't bang your barrel like that, that's not good. You make sure you turn it enough that it sits right back where you had it. If it's loose in there and you try to fire this, you're going to have a bad day. So then you just invert all the steps I showed you on how to take off your buffer tube, and this, and then you can put all your attachments back on. So with the buffer tube, there are these indents here that line up with the indents on the buffer tube, and then it sits there like that. So this is going to need two hands, sorry guys. So one important bit, the reason this is shaped like this with that square slide piece is so that the wire doesn't get damaged when you're putting this together, and it allows the space. So this is probably the most difficult part, actually. So you gotta put this piece back in. I'm not gonna do it now because I need two hands. You put that piece back in, you line up your tube, right? And then you put a screwdriver on that, and you screw it into the hole. So I'm gonna do that. So once you have it screwed in there, you should be able to shake it around, and actually you should be able to just lift up your whole gun by it. If you can't do that, then you've put your buffer tube on wrong or didn't tighten it enough. Don't over tighten, that's pretty important. If you over tighten, you're going to strip your screws. So what I'm doing here, lining up my buffer tube, pull out the bit that I showed you. Pull out the bit that I showed you. Stop fighting me. And then you push it on and find a hole, and then you readjust where you had it. Finally, battery cover. Your gun is assembled. So now I'm going to go take it out to the chrono and show you that this new spring is working. So there's my new FPS. Hovering around 335, 336. So this would be perfectly legal for an indoor field around my area.